Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you this morning. So in this video, we're going to learn how to configure voice over IP using both data and voice VLANs. Okay, so in the previous video, we learned how to configure a normal voice over IP. Okay, just using voice VLANs. Okay, so let's take a scenario whereby we have an IP phone on the desk. Okay, and we want to connect a cable from that IP phone to our laptop. So, although the IP phones use voice VLANs, but the laptop will have to use data VLAN. So, before that, I'll just open our Google spreadsheet. I'll let you know that we are in number 6 under VLAN and VoIP technologies, right? Alright. So, I'll also open our notepad to highlight the steps to follow to achieve the objective. So, the first step is always to draw the necessary topology, decorate, and comment. Okay? Alright. So I partially drew this topology here so that I can show you the device selection. Okay, so we need a switch here. Okay, and we need to have 3 access IP phones. Okay, so just click on the end devices and choose this IP phone. Okay, 7960 IP phone, put it there, 4 of them. So it's partially complete. So what we need is just to include a router. Remember, for IP functionality, IP phones functionalities, or the VoIP functionality, we must have a voice gateway. And our voice gateway, in that case, just click on the networking devices, and our voice gateway under Cisco Packet Tracer is always 2811 router. So just take 2811 router and put it there. Okay, all right. So after you put it there, what's now remaining is just to connect them. Let's connect them. So just choose automatic from the router to switch. And now for the remaining one, we just do it very fast, save time. And also from the IP phones to the laptops on the table. Okay, so I've made a sample comments here. So you can see our voice traffic will have VLAN 33 with this network. Our data traffic will have VLAN 50 with this network. Okay. Alright. So the second step is just to plug in adapters, power adapters to the IP phones. So just drag the IP power adapter and insert into that port. So I do the rest very fast. All right, so basically we're done with the topology and the necessary requirements for the starting point. All right, so when we go back to our notepad, we can see that we configure switch ports for both data and voice VLANs. So guys, basically we're going to configure this port, this port, and this port. So it's FA0/2 until FA0/5. So we just go to the switch and we create the VLANs first. Remember, we have how many VLANs? 2 VLANs, VLAN 33 and VLAN 50. So we create the VLAN first. So we go here and say enable config T. Then VLAN 33, name to be voice. Okay, exit. Then VLAN 50, name to be data. Exit and do it. So we need to assign FA0/2 to 5, both data and voice VLAN. So we just click on the switch, interface, range, FA0/2 to 5. Okay, switch port mode, access. Then switch port, access, VLAN 50 for data. Remember, VLAN 50 is for data. Okay, then you hit enter. Then switch port now for voice. So switch port voice VLAN 33. Good. Exit and do right. So if you can just say do show start, you will see that each switch port, each access port has both the data and voice VLAN. You can see switch port access VLAN 50, switch port voice VLAN 33. Good. So the second thing that another thing that we do there, now configure trunk to the interface connecting to the router. Okay, so we need to configure trunk to this interface. So this is FA0/1. So we just go to interface. You can see FA0/1 is still blank. Okay, interface FA0/1, FA0/1, and just say switch port mode trunk, exit, and do it. Good. So let's go back to our notepad again for guidelines. All right, so configure sub interfaces on the router and bind to VLAN IDs, not IP, and then assign IP addresses. Okay, so remember we have two VLANs, one for data and one for voice. So we have to enable what's called inter-VLAN routing. Okay, so we need to create sub interfaces such that one sub interface will represent voice, another one for data traffic. Okay, so we just go to the router, and what we do first, we identify which interface is this. I mean this one. This is FA0/0. So we just go to that router and we go to FA0/0. No, enable config T. So interface FA0/0, then just say no shut, because you can see it's in shutdown state. Okay, all right, exit. So we need to create how many sub interfaces? 2. The first sub interface. How do we create sub interface? Just enter the full interface, which is FA0/0, then dot to represent the sub interface. Now a sub interface for voice VLAN, being that the voice VLAN has the ID of 33. Now you just say 33. Okay, and you hit enter. And now how do we bind it to this voice VLAN? We just say encapsulation .1Q33, exit. Hit enter. Then we assign it IP address. So this IP address will act as the default gateway for IP phones. So we just assign it IP address of 172.16.10.1. So just say 172 IP add 172.16.10.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Hit enter and exit. So we go to another interface for data. So another sub interface will be interface FA0/0.50 to represent the data traffic. Okay, all right. So encapsulation.1Q50, we bind it to the same VLAN. Okay, all right. Then we assign it IP address. So you can see the network was 192.168.10.0. So I'm just going to edit this one, 192.168.10.1. Okay, exit. Let's take the first usable IP address and do right. Good. So let's go back to our notepad and number 5 now, configure DCP pools for data and voice. So basically, being that we have two networks and we have two categories, one for voice and one for data, then we have to create how many pools? 2 pools. Okay, we just go here and now we create pools. The first thing, we enable the service DCP. Okay, then let's create a pool for voice first. IP DCP pool, then name it voice. Okay, and hit enter. Then the network, you can see is the network is here. The network is here, 172.168.10.0. Okay, with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, and hit enter. The default router, the default gateway should be the sub interface of the voice VLAN here. You can see it was this one. Okay, all right. Okay, so we just, default router is 172.16.10.1. okay, and then for the case of voice traffic, we normally include additional command that's called option 150. Okay, then it represents IP of the default router 172.16.10.1, and you hit enter, exit. Good. Now let's create another pool for data. So IP DCP pool, then we name it data. Okay, And the network you can see is 192.168.10.0. So that mask of 255.255.255.0. Hit enter. Then default router should be 192.168.10.1. okay, exit and do right. So basically these computers and the IP phones should be able to get IP address allocated. Okay, so if you can just go to these IP phones and try to request, you can see it has already picked. You can see it has already picked. Okay, because we configured DHCP. Okay, DHCP request successful. Good. So for the IP phones, they might take long, but they have already picked. You can see them. VLAN 33 hub 172.16.10.6. okay, even this one you can see it has picked. And this one, what about this one? That's 10.7. and this one has not picked, but it's in the process. Good. All right, so let's go to the second step, configure telephony service. So guys, basically this was the main topic of today's class. Okay, how to configure telephony service. So we just go to the router, we configure telephony service on the router. Okay, all right, so don't worry about this one. This one is a result of a DHCP allocation. Okay, all right, so how to prevent this one is just to exclude IP addresses, right? Okay, so we can just do that. Let's exclude as particular IP addresses. So just say IP at DHCP DHCP excluded addresses. Let's say 172.16.10.1. we don't want this DHCP server to assign any host these IP addresses from 10.1 to 172.16.10. let's say .10. okay, oops, .10, yes, that range. And also for this one was for voice. So for data also, I'll just change this to 168. Then this one is 192. 168 here. Oops, there's a problem. So 168 here. Then this one to be 92. Good. Exit, not exit, but just do right. Good. So let's start configuring telephony service. How do we configure telephony service? Very, very simple. You just write a command, telephony service, then you hit enter. Then you specify the maximum number of IP phones that you have or you want in your network. Let's just say maximum phones to be, let's say just say 10. okay, we just want 10 IP phones in this network. Then the maximum number of directory numbers or dial numbers, okay, to be 10. okay, all right. Then IP source to be the IP address of the default router of the voice of the sub interface that represent the voice VLAN, this sub interface. okay, this IP address now. So IP source, then just query, yes, so 172.16.10.1. then we just write this command port to represent which port? Port 2000. They're very, very simple. If you don't write the port, it won't work. And then after here, you just say auto assign from 1 to number 10, because we want to have how many IP phones? 10 IP phones. okay, all right, then exit. This is how to configure. This is all about how to configure telephony service. So telephony service has been configured. So what's just remaining is to allocate these phones dial numbers. okay, so we just go to, how do we allocate these phones dial numbers? The number 7, allocate dial numbers to the phones or extension. So just say ephone directory dial number 1, hit enter. Then ephone DN1, then just give it a number, just say number. Let's start from 1001, okay, and exit. Then you go to ephone 2, okay, then you give it a number 1002, exit, then you go to ephone 3. So if you can just go to the IP phones, they should be able to pick both IP addresses and the line numbers. So if I just hover over the IP phone, you can see it has taken which IP address, 192.172.16.10.11. Then the gateway is that one, then the line number. Okay, line number is 1001. If you go to this one, you can see it has picked the line number plus IP address. Same applies to this one, and finally to this one. And all our computers have also picked IP addresses automatically from the DHCP server, which is the router. So we can just try to ping from this IP phone to this IP phone, or from this to this one. So this one is directory number, line number is 1001. Okay, so you can see this as a line number of 1001. This is a line number of 1004. So let me try to call this one. So it's 1001 and then call. You can see it's ringing out 211 from 1004. You can just pick and you see it's connected, status is connected, status is connected. You can just hang up, right? Then let's set 1004 and call. You can see this one is ringing out. So from 01, then you just try to pick up, and you can also hang up. Okay, all right. So guys, basically I believe this video is really helping out to configure voice over IP using both data and voice VLANs with different networks and VLAN IDs. So when I go back here, I'll just mark this section as done. So when we meet next, let's finish a routing for voice over IP, which is called dial peering. Then we enter into firewall configuration. Thank you guys. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share with friends. Let's see you again in the next class. Bye.